do we have for you today? Well, today is distilling day. We are going to distill out our blueberry oatmeal whiskey. And what I also wanted to talk about is cuts, blending, proofing, and oaking. The way I do it, everybody does it just a little bit different. So this is going to be a packed video with hopefully a lot of good information for you. But first things first. Welcome to Stillworks and Brewing. My name is Randy and this is a channel that's all about home distillation and brewing. Hey, let's get started. Okay, so I finished up my run on the blueberry oatmeal whiskey. So right now I want to do is I want to talk about cuts. So what are cuts? Well, simply it's just small segments from the entire run, and you'll find that different flavors come out at different times, and mainly at the beginning and at the end, and that's where we're trying to find where the end of one cut and the other ones begin and then end. Okay, so the main cut blocks are, we got 4 shots and heads, well, 4 shots, heads, hearts, and tails. Okay, let's look at each one. Okay, so let's check each one of these segments out and describe it a little bit. Alright, so the very first thing that's going to come off is your 4 shots. They're going to contain different chemicals and they just, and off flavors. They're not too great. So then after that is going to be heads. So heads are after the 4 shots. They contain off flavors and off smells. And when I distill, I kind of collect the both of them at the same time is the way I do it. Now one thing I will say is my rule of thumb is when I'm collecting my 4 shots and heads, if the mash bill is mainly an all grain mash bill, I will collect off and discard about 1 ounce per gallon of mash, roundabout. You're going to go by smell, and that's the main indicator. Now, like in this one, which I had fruit, or like if you had a brandy, I'm going to add at least 2 to 4 ounces to that. So in this run here, I collected off right at 10 ounces, and I keep smelling, and I stop. That is just a data point. and really go by the smell and taste, and you'll find that when you're out of them 4 shots in the heads. All right, so that's 4 shots in heads. Okay, just to give one little point is, if you notice here, right after I collected my 4 shots of heads, I went with a couple small cuts, and the reason I do that is in case I missed the mark, I would only have to lose a little bit. So I'll take a couple small cuts, and then after that, when I'm pretty sure I'm in my heads, I'm gonna go to a bigger cuts. Okay, hearts. Hearts are the most clean, the most flavorful part of the run, and it will make, I don't know, that's what we're after, right? It will make the bulk of everything we are collecting. Now, one thing I do is I keep an eye on the ABV coming off of the still, and that helps me determine where I'm at. Okay, and you'll find out if you do that, more experience you get, the better off you're going to be at it. Okay, so we're going to get into that a little bit later. Okay. Okay, so the last of this is what they call tails. Tails are at the end of the run, and what you want to keep an eye on is, you'll notice your ABV will start dropping, right? And your head temperature will start climbing. All right. Now, head temperature it's going to be different for everybody depending on your elevation above sea level. Now, me, when I get to 201 to 204, I'm pretty much done, and I usually stop it. I mean, right here, it's 70 degrees or 70 ABV. I shut it down because I just noticed it ain't as clear. I'm into my tails. Okay. So, alright, so you see all our cuts there, so what's next? Well, the next thing is I'm going to cover each jar, and I just use paper towels. A lot of people use coffee filters. The main thing what we're trying to do is trying to keep critters out, gnats and stuff like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover each jar for right around up to 24 hours. So I'll come back tomorrow, and then we'll be on to the next step of blending. Alright, and then let me get these covered up. I'll be lucky if I don't spill it. Alright, so let me get these covered up, and then I'll be back tomorrow and we're going to continue on, okay? Okay, so we're going to start blending, but I just wanted to show you this. I mean, it's just simple. The long and the short of what we're trying to do is we're trying to keep what's in between these two lines, basically your hearts. So we're trying to determine in our cuts where these two lines are. Sounds simple, don't it? Well, it's not all that difficult. If it tastes good, I'm going to use it. If it tastes and smells good, and then sometimes you might want a little bit of what's like mainly in your heads, not your foreshell, but like in your heads. You might want to keep that, or you might not. And sometimes a lot of people like a little funky taste from their tails. It is strictly up to you, okay? Nothing gets wasted. I take my 4 shots of my heads, I use them in my jar, and I'll put them in a jar, and I'll use it for fire starters, for camping, or whatever the case may be. And tails down on the other end, I'll put them together, and then when I get enough, I'll throw them into my next run, because there's good alcohol in them tails. There's nothing wrong with that. So everything uncovered, and then we're going to start doing some smelling and tasting. I am thinking this last one, that's going to be my tails, because it is number one that the ABV dropped off, and it's like cloudy. So I'm pretty sure that's going to be my tails. Now my question is this first one. Okay, so I'm pretty confident that this is going to be out of the pitcher. Okay, now. That's delicious, and I'm going to move on up. A lot of people say you just start in the middle and go down. Just don't start with that real high proof one first, because it'll burn your palate out. So, up here, everything. If it's like I said before, if it smells good, I'm going to use it. Ooh, I'm getting a little bit of, yeah. If I handed this to you and said, what flavor is that? You're not going to say, well, that was blueberry. Ooh, getting hot. But it has that essence of blueberry. And then we'll figure out what we want to do after we age it. Ooh. But it sure is getting strong. Now here's the question. If I will use this or not. I bet I will. Yes. That has most intense of the blueberry flavor in it right there. So what I'm going to use, I'm going to use everything except, of course, the 4 shots heads that I collected and these tails. I'm not going to use them, so I'm going to save them for later. Alright? So let me get rid of them, and we'll. Okay, so let's get us all blended together. Then we'll get ready to move to the next step. Smells fantastic. Alright. Okay, let me get some stuff out of my way and then we'll be back, okay? First thing I want to do is, once I've blended everything together, what kind of proof do we have? And we are looking at 110. Okay, so we're looking at 110 proof. Okay, so what is, when we say proofing, what is proofing? It's simple. Proofing is the dilution of the alcohol from a higher proof down to a lower proof. And it's a personal preference in what you like. Me, myself, most time I like 80 proof, which is 40 ABV. I use just bottled water to proof with. I've had good luck with it. I just don't change. Now some people say that you have to add the alcohol to the water, and then other people say you got to add water to the alcohol. I'll be honest with you, I haven't found. I always add the water to the alcohol, and I've never had a problem. Okay, but if I do know if you get too much tails into your distillate, and then you add water, it can cloud up on you. But like I said, I add my water to my alcohol, and I'm going to reduce this down to 80 proof. Now, I'll mention this on a different subject, or a different segment. Okay, so let me get this. I'm going to put at least one bottle of water in there. I made it. Let's see what we got. I'm down to 100, okay? All right, let me get another bottle because this one's going to be getting full. Okay, I ended up adding 2 more bottles of water to what I got here. Let's see where we're at. I'm pretty sure we're going to be pretty close. And we are at dead on 80 proof 40 ABV. All right, so I'm happy with that. I need to taste it though. That is going to be delicious. All right, so what's next? Well, the next would be considered aging. All right, you know, your big breweries, they're going to put that into a barrel and they're going to age it in a barrel. So, dark spirits like bourbons, whiskeys, dark rums, etc. are going to age on wood. Now, some say that you have to age at a higher proof, and some say you don't. Now, usually I will proof down to my liking is 80 proof, and then I will add my wood. Now, exception. If I'm using like a mini barrel or something, I do like to go to the higher ABV because of the evaporation. You know, the angel share they call it, but you will evaporate into a wooden barrel will evaporate out. So that's why you would like to go into a higher proof. And when I'm aging in glass, you don't have that evaporation, so I just go ahead and knock it down to 80 where I'm happy, and we'll go from there. All right, now, rule of thumb for how much wood to use in this case. My rule of thumb is about a ½ ounce per quart, okay? And it seems to me that it turns out pretty good. Now, it all depends on what kind of wood, how big the wood is. There's a lot of variables there, but that's just a rule of thumb, you know, to help you out if you're just getting started. It seems to me that if you're using chips, it will age. It will get darker and age a lot faster. If you're using thin pieces of wood, it will go faster. The larger the wood is, it takes slower. But the big but is, I think the longer it takes with the thicker wood, the better it tastes. I mean, that's just my opinion, but I think it does. So you just have to play with it the way you like, okay? So, what I have some, actually these are wood stays from a wooden barrel I had that I just cut up and I recharred on all sides. And these are a ½ ounce a piece. So what I'm going to do is, I got 2½ quarts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put 3 in each one of these jars. So I'll put 3 in there. And I'll put the lids on them, set them back on the shelf. I need to label the label the jars so I know exactly what it is. And then we're going to go from there, okay? This has been a real fun project. I'm looking forward to seeing how it's going to turn out. And if you like this video, please help support this channel by hitting that subscribe button. It means a lot to us. That's how we keep coming out with new content. And just leave a comment and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Alright, I can't wait for this, but it'll be a little time. Alright, I guess the last thing I got to say is, hey, thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you next time here on Stillworks and Brewing. Cheers, everybody. Alright, that's going to turn out good. Alright.